Hello, sunshine. Thank you so much for joining Being Awesome with Yvette, where I write and share daily messages to uplift and encourage you to want to change and do the will of God to become a stronger and better version of you. If this is something you're interested in, please subscribe so you can be notified when I post the next message. Today, the message is Peace Challenge. The scripture is Romans 12, verse 18. If it is possible, as much as depends on you, live peacefully with all men. We all say we want peace in our life, but yet we always want to let people know what we think or how we feel. We have to pray every day and ask God to give us the wisdom to stop wanting to always say something and have the courage to say nothing and watch how much peace we will have in our life. Remember, the choice is ours. Guys, this is something that I struggle with because I was brought up. You let people know what you think. You let people know how you feel. That's how I was raised. That's what I've always done. And at a point in my life, I had to realize I can't blame someone else for me not, being happy. Someone, my life just being in a toxic situation or walking around toxic, put it that way. Because at the end of the day, I was responsible only for me. So instead of always walking around getting into arguments with someone else that was toxic or someone else that was not nice today, the best thing to do is just be quiet. If I want a peaceful day and I want to be happy today, don't always say something, because you got to know who you're going to battle with. That's another thing. I had to learn that. Here I was in a relationship with somebody. He could come across very, very toxic, very crazy, but yet so could I. So I can go from 0 to 60 as well. But I couldn't go around and blame him for me having a bad day when all I had to do was keep my mouth shut. But because I am who I am, I will get into a huge argument with him. Next thing you know, you got two people going back and forth. And I had to realize, here I'm going to God, and God was just like, be quiet. The scripture was something that reminded me, you want peace? It starts with you first. Not the other person, because we always try to control other people. Or not, I put it this way, I do. I thought I could just walk up to him and say, hey, I would appreciate if you wouldn't do this, and I appreciate if you wouldn't say that. But guess what? They were going to do what they want to do. And they didn't care if they hurt my feelings. They didn't care because guess what? They weren't raised like I was. They don't have a relationship with God like I do. So even though I wanted someone to not say something ugly or not be nasty or not being rude, it didn't matter what I said to them. It didn't matter what I said or how I felt about the situation. Because guess what? Again, hurt people, toxic people, they don't care. And we weren't raised the same. I'm working on my relationship with God. I don't know what they're doing. So is that to say something is wrong with them? No. I have control over my peace. We have control over our peace. Even though we may be married to someone or dating someone or working with someone that sometimes seems toxic and crazy, guess what? We don't have to allow them to steal our peace. I've been guilty. I've done it. I've come to work, been at home, and I've allowed someone else to steal my joy and my peace. For what? Because I had to let them know what I think, how I feel, and they don't really give a shit. I'll be honest. They don't. Sometimes, even when you are married, whether you're a guy or a girl, even when you're married, sometimes your spouse is going through some things. They don't give a shit at that moment. Not intentionally, they don't. But even in relationships, we expect for our boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, or wife to always. We want them to be honest, but sometimes, guys, they're going through something themselves. I had to learn this. I had to stop taking everything to heart. When he was having a bad day, sometimes he would say things to me to hurt my feelings. And for me to go back at him and say, well, you're not going to talk to me this way and you're not going to do this, you're not going to do it. Guess what it did? It caused my day to be ruined. It caused my day. So here I am. Now I'm upset. He's happy. I'm upset. I don't know about how any of you react to this, but guess what? I had to learn. Sometimes don't say anything. Just take it to God. So now I have control of my peace. If I want to have a messed up day, then I'll argue with somebody. But if I want to have a peaceful day, guess what? My response is, okay. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to let someone else steal my peace anymore. But that's a choice, guys, that I had to make. But that's also with me spending time with God. That's with me, not confronting them all the time, not saying anything. And it's not so much that I was weak, scared, or anything. That's not it. Sometimes we just got to be quiet and stop confronting people all the time and stop telling people sometimes how we feel because they don't care. Sometimes they just don't care at that moment. Not saying that they don't care at all, but sometimes at that moment, they got their own things going on in their head. And when we're in relationships, sometimes, guys, we need to really just step back sometimes. Give our spouse that moment. Give the person, give them that moment. Give them that day. Because sometimes when I step back, I know for me, when I step back, they will come to me and they'll be like, you know what? Yesterday I might have said something, or this morning I might have said something, but I didn't really mean it. But because I stepped back, didn't say anything, took it to God. And you know when I go to God, you know what I always say to God? Especially when I want to confront somebody and let them know what I feel and how I think. God, you know what? You know the situation. You know what I don't know. You see what I don't see. Step in, Lord. Have your way. Let your will be done. And then I choose, my choice, to walk away. We got to stop worrying about what other people think. We got to stop worrying about someone looking at us and saying, oh, well, you're weak, you're scared, you're this, you're that, because you don't always tell people what you think and how you feel. Because sometimes, where's that getting us? Nowhere. It's stealing our peace, our joy, because of what? Because we open our mouth. Sometimes, guys, in order for us to have a peaceful day, it starts with us. Well, it starts with me. So I choose to not always say things. I choose to stop telling people always what I think and how I feel, because that's stealing my peace and my joy. Guys, come take this peace challenge with me. Come take it. Let's stop always having to tell people and say things all the time. Let's stop doing that. Let's take a different approach. Let's take a different approach. Let's work on our relationship with God so we can work on our mouth, how we think, change how we think. Stop always thinking negative. As for me, I did. I stopped always taking things personal. I stopped always thinking because someone snapped at me or said something to me that I got to respond. I don't care what they think at that moment. I'm just being honest. I don't. Come take this peace challenge with me. Let's stop allowing other people in our life to steal our peace and joy, especially at work. But even at home, sometimes we got to just keep our mouth shut. Yes, I know. He's an asshole. She's a bitch sometimes. Guess what? So are you. So am I. But guess what? No one can steal our peace but us. We give it. I'm no longer going to allow that. But that's with me having a better relationship with God. Guys, come take this peace challenge with me. Let's work on having a better relationship with God, ourselves, so we can be a better person for the people in our life. Thank you for listening to Being Awesome with Yvette. Please like and subscribe. Have an awesome day.